of plasma-derived therapy, there are lots of research or there are lots of tests or trials going on in terms of plasma-derived therapy. So the basic concept is, when somebody who got the COVID-19 virus, when he's recovering, they and if their immune system are really good and they are producing antibodies against the COVID-19 virus, they and in the recovery phase, they have the most, especially the last recovery phase where they've been through that flu stage and pneumonia stage. They start recovering and producing lots of antibodies, and those antibodies can be very good if can be injected via the plasma derived therapy or via the plasma route, can be helpful for other patients also. So their antibodies can be helpful. So that's what is happening. They are extracting plasma, and in terms of those recovered patient plasma do have those antibodies, and they are actually can be helpful. But it's again, it's not been widely acceptable. It's still trials are going on, and it's still this is not being registered. So I can only tell about what's going on in regulatory affairs in terms of whether we are getting approval for that or not. So they are still using in hospital on the compensation basis, but there is no particular the company who is actually start producing on a mass scale. So it's on the patient basis, and even the number is very low. So one patient, one recovered patient can only produce enough plasma or enough antibody contained plasma who can probably treat maybe 3 to 4 patients. So you need, say an example, there are 100,000 people can be treated from a plasma. You need at least 25,000 patients. So that in that case, it's very difficult to produce in mass scale and have that kind of numbers. So that's why it's difficult. But yes, this is one of the viable option, and there are so many research and so many testing going on.
I hope, Mr. Pawan, you had your answer. So my next question is to Dr. R.P. Tiwari, sir. That is Prachi Pallavi is asking this question, sir. What are your views about modified BCG vaccine? What are your views on modified BCG vaccine for treating COVID-19? Tiwari, sir, we would like you to answer that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Hello,
Pallavi. Thank you.
Prachi Pallavi.
Yeah, Prachi, thank you so much for your question. This is a very good question. BCG vaccine. The fact that I will go back when I was working with the looping, and the looping I was working with the vaccine development. So the Lupin is a company who developed the anti-tubercular drug from a first generation drug to a fourth generation drug, and they are also trying to develop the some vaccines during the year of 1992 and so on. So the BCG vaccine, though, have been tried, and the vaccine has been used in the wider population in the country, but it's not the it's like the protective vaccines, not as the therapeutic vaccine, but this protective vaccine is being given to the infant during the child born, but its efficacy is questioned. If you look at the Indian BCG vaccination from entire population, when the children is born, the BCG vaccine is being given, but if you look at kind of the tuberculosis in our country, the population is high, though the rate of the TB cases is being drastically reduced from longer time. The leprosy has gone away, but the TB is still the problem in our country. It is the data shows that the people vaccinated with the BC has quite a response against the COVID virus, but it is on the just research papers. It's not just a trial or the validated. This is the case-based study that has been tried and found some data where the BCG vaccinated patients has got recovered faster than the unvaccinated cases. So if you look at the protection against the BCG vaccine, this vaccine could give the protective efficacy to the population who has been recently infected with the virus. But nevertheless, there is no clear-cut data or the evidence where the BCG vaccinated population has got recovered. or this vaccine can give the a cure to the population. So this efficacy is really the question. But yes, there is a quite probability, because there is a variation into the immunity and the variation into the geography, and this vary case to case. It's not the individual. If you use the BCG vaccine as a trial to protect the COVID, so yes, it is like the same as the plasma therapy what people have been using for the trial, but not as the proper intervention for the against fighting against the COVID.
So, Prachi, I suppose you got your answer. My next question is to Mr. Vyas, sir. Rajul Gupta is asking this question. Which phases of research and clinical trials in the development of vaccine of COVID-19 are going to be squeezed so that we can expect a vaccine in 8 to 12 months instead of 10 to 15 months? Vyas, sir, I would like you to answer that question.
Yeah.
This is from Rajul Gupta.
To answer to that question, there wouldn't be any squeeze of the phases of studies, because every phase of study is important for it. But the category, like the patient requirement, like whenever they are planning a study, you have to analyze what kind of patients you're addressing for. So if you're doing a double-blinded study, you will be addressing, you'll be using a placebo and all those stuff. But when you're addressing, when you're designing the study, you'll have to make an analysis of the patients whom you're targeting. But right now, since it's a COVID situation, we have to target only the patients with respect to the lab results what we have in our hand. Lab results that involves both toxicology study as well as animal study. So based on that, we will be proceeding with the studies with respect to the patients, and the studies will be designed according to the results what we have in hand. So we cannot design further studies expecting for side effects and other other effects of the drug right now, because we have to address the situation at the moment. So the maximum by 2021, almost the drug will come into the market. Once it comes to the market, then there will be a post-marketing analysis of these studies where further side effects and everything will be analyzed. That will be on the later stages. So now, to address this question, the patients will be designed in such a way that they will be targeted only for COVID, and other side effects we won't be bothering as of now. We will be bothering the main target of the disease. That's it.
Okay. I think Rajul, sir, you got your answer. Coming to Sanjay. Sanjay, there is a question for you. That COVID virus is changing its symptoms, and now it is becoming asymptomatic slowly. Right? So what do you have to say about that? That virus becoming asymptomatic. So how to diagnose the patients, and what are your concerns on that? And what about the clotting effect being seen in the various organs and all? Newer symptoms are coming up. So Sanjay, I would like you to address that question. That question is from Preeti Sagar. Preeti.
Okay, yeah. Hello, Preeti. Chitra, just to kind of rephrase that question or recorrect it. So there are symptoms are not changing. There are more newer symptoms are being kind of coming to the scientific knowledge or coming to the knowledge of the clinicians, just like blood clotting you talked about. So when we say that there are a lot of people who are asymptomatic, so broadly, I think let's talk about in this form that 85 to 90% of the people, it will come and go. So they will remain asymptomatic, or they will have mild symptoms and they will recover themselves. So it's not like that everybody who is getting this virus is ultimately landing up into ICU. It's not like that. So there are certain comorbid conditions which are required, and it depends on the individual immunity, kind of the immune level, immunoprotective, or their body immunity, which is making a lot of impact. So for 85 to 90% of people, it's coming and going. It's only remaining people who are getting, the symptoms are getting worse, who are showing some sort of symptoms. See, ultimately, till the time there is no symptom, that means virus is there in the body, but body defense mechanism is able to kind of suppress it or kind of manage it in the current concentration. So I think that's a good sign if a lot of people are asymptomatic. The only thing is, again, coming back to the protected. So like these asymptomatic carriers can cause damage to certain people who have comorbid conditions. So ultimately, that self-protection, which in terms of the mask or the sanitizers or social distancing has to be followed. So, and ultimately it's for all the previous question also, just one comment I would like to add is that everything we are talking about is evidence-based. We are living in evidence-based era. So it's very difficult to say whether the use of air conditioners or heat or whether it is plasma therapy or anything else is going to work, or say BCG vaccine. A lot of studies are underway to address these questions. It's too early to comment on it, and hopefully even regulatory is also seeing it from the perspective that anything which is showing initial kind of efficacy, they're giving permission. So I think Mr. Purohit has just covered about that remdesivir example, that only after phase 2 they're given permission. It's emergency approval only after phase 2.
Okay, thank you very much, Sanjay. That's well answered. And I think it's time to wind up the session because I think questions are endless, and I'll address your questions to the speakers and maybe I'll connect you to them for your queries. So no doubt the condition is grim, but our scientists, researchers, clinicians, and regulators are all prepared for bringing out a solution in the form of a vaccine very soon at a fast pace.